Increasing my milk supply to build my freezer stash in case of emergencies finally paid off. Let me tell you how. If you've never seen my face before, hi, my name is Dee, and I teach you all about how I increased my milk supply and went from undersupplier to oversupplier so that you can replicate my process and get the same results. And before you ask, no, there's no magic pill, there's no guide I'm gonna sell you, no course, just cold hard facts and science. For a lot of breastfeeding moms, some of us will have a menstrual cycle and some of us will not. I have been hit or miss every single postpartum journey, but this time around, it's been really unpredictable and random. Essentially, for a 2-week period, my supply literally was cut in half. I normally produce about 4.5, 5 ounces every time I pump, but this last couple weeks, it has been maybe 2 or 3 ounces maximum for my output for 2 weeks straight. I definitely had a hunch that it was because of my hormones fluctuating. I had a headache, and that's very typical for me before I go into my menstrual cycle, but this was a very prolonged PMS period. But I did everything that I instruct you guys to do. I focused on my water intake, eating high protein. I pumped on a schedule with a technique. I did all of the things that I would normally do, but I still was not seeing good output. And I knew it wasn't my equipment because I changed that out as well. I was checking all of the boxes to know that I did everything exactly correctly. So now that I was in this place where my supply was incredibly low, but I was doing everything right, I did what I would recommend you do. I stayed the course and continued to show up and do all of the right things, even though I was a little bit discouraged. So because my supply had dipped so deeply, I had to unthaw one of my frozen bags of milk. The thing is, that was why I created a freezer stash to begin with, was in case of an emergency. I wasn't excited that there was an emergency. I was very grateful that I was able to build a freezer stash. I'm not storing all of this extra milk to simply have a collection on my shelf. I've been storing it to use it in case I need it. The other concerning part of this was I wasn't sure if my baby would take frozen milk because sometimes when you freeze breast milk, if it has high lipase, it doesn't taste good to the baby and they might not take it. Thankfully, we tested it out and my son did in fact take the milk. My menstrual cycle then came and went and I was able to get my supply back to that high amount that I was used to as an overproducer. All this being said, I want to encourage you that building your freezer stash is incredibly important because in case of an emergency, you do have that milk to buffer so that you can continue to have the breastfeeding journey that you want and breastfeed your baby. Because remember, we're trying to feed the baby, not the freezer.